Hello, everyone. This is Alicia. Welcome back to my garden. Thanks for joining me. I am gardening in Zone 5B6A, suburbs of Chicago. This is the north side of my house. I wanted to do a little garden tour of the patio garden. This is in shade right now, but most of the year it is full sun over here and sun in the front and shade in the back. So here's my dog Penny. There was a big change in my garden this year. This is a weeping birch tree that has left us, unfortunately. So it provided really nice amounts of shade. Now it is full sun back here. So I have edited a lot of this space. This is all new from fall. These are all changed up. This had Nicotiana in it, straw flowers. It was just really wild, a little wilder than I was liking. So I did edit a lot of this for the new season. As I've mentioned in previous videos, I've lived in my house for about 4 years, but most of the garden is not 4 years old because I have changed things so much. This rose has actually been here for 4 years, so it is pretty large now. It is a beautiful hot pink rose, but no name is known, so not quite sure. We do have some rosebuds hanging on still, but it is the end of the season. These are pretty much kind of donezo. This is my new favorite rose. I just added this in probably early summer, maybe late spring. It is Princess Charlene of Monaco. It is so beautiful. This amazing corally color, pinky color. The smell is so perfect, and it actually lasts about a week in a vase. So I like to bring flowers to work and have them to smell. So it is really, this has turned out to be my new favorite rose. So I really do recommend it. Down here I have some really fun ajuga. I don't know the kind. It was inherited from the previous owners. It used to, last year it really filled in this space, but I've dug in here a lot and kind of just didn't really care for it. I do like it more now, so I am hoping it spreads a little bit more. I like this little clump here. I've taken a few clumps elsewhere in the garden to see how they do, so we'll see. I added some really pretty phlox that is amazingly hanging on, and we have had snow and frost. It's pretty amazing. This is cloudburst phlox. I just can't believe how hardy this is. It is really pretty. I have 3 in here. Really love that purple. I have summer romance stashies in here. This will be a new one for me. I have the Humolo stashies elsewhere in the garden, but I've not tried this one. So I'm excited. It is a pinky color instead of the purpley color. So we'll see how that looks. Right here, I do have 3 prairie dropseed. I am a huge fan of that grass as of this year, so I'm excited to see how that will look floating over the edge onto the pavers. Right here, I have an Anna's Magic Ball. I have them dotted throughout the garden. That they are new to me, so I'm very excited to see how they grow and have that little evergreen aspect. Over here, I have decided to add Husker Red beard tongue. I have other beard tongue throughout the garden, the Dark Towers. Um, I forget the other one, but I do have multiple kinds. So this one is new. I'm excited to see how this will look in here in front of the Charlene DeMonico rose. So I think with the dark leaves, the ajuga on the bottom, that will really bring a nice aspect to this area. Over here are just some geraniums. I do have a geranium Roseanne that I might be moving because I'm not, again, like I said, this garden was very over the top this summer and I wasn't too thrilled with it. And I'm kind of trying a little bit more structure. So I think I want to take that geranium Roseanne out. But I do have a different geranium here that smells so good in the spring. It blooms pink and I can't remember the name, but I'll put it up on the screen. I have some really fun additions to this section of the garden that I don't quite know what they're going to look like, but I think it's going to look great. So I guess we'll see in the spring. But right here, I added a little cluster of Vernonia. This is butterfly, something butterfly. Here, let's see if I can see, iron butterfly. That's what it is. Iron butterfly. So it will look like this. It is a native. It's a cultivar of a native. So it is not going to get so wild, but it is going to be very pretty. Behind the Vernonia, which I missed the falling of the leaves, unfortunately, is a ginkgo. This, if you can see, is a very small space. Again, I've mentioned my garden is a very small garden. I have about 1,700 square feet. I have to be very specific with what I plant in here. So I found this very neat ginkgo because I'm sure you're aware that they get ginormous. They're very huge. This right here is called Skinny Fit. Skinny Fit ginkgo. I will show a picture. This ginkgo gets super tall but stays very thin. And I'm just really excited to see how this grows. Over here, we have an amazing hydrangea. I really don't know the kind of it. This was given to me as a little stick from the lady I get my hair done from. She's a good friend, so she shared some of her garden with me. And it has grown in like 2 seasons. It is so beautiful. So I love this. It blooms white. It does flap, so it might be like an Annabelle or Incredible. I love it. And it's worked out with this little cage around it to hold everything up. So that's worked out really well for me. I like that part. I do have a lot of lilies added in here. I I do want to add more lilies and more iris in here. I did not really have much of options because this all got changed up at the end of, well, very early fall. This all got switched up. So we'll see what else I'm going to be adding for the spring, but I do need some spiky things in here. Over here, I've added some native columbine. This blooms red. So I moved that from my shade garden. So I'm excited to see how that will look. I've added those, dotted them throughout the garden. So I really like the native kind. They do spread a bit, but as long as you're okay with that, it works out great. I added in, there's my dog. I added a new heuchera over here. As I said, I switched out my shade garden. So added the heuchera. I do have a still be here, did add a heuchera into a pot. I have trouble with this little area right here because it does get some shade, some sun, but some shade. So it's a little tough. So we'll see what I'm going to switch it up to next year. So behind the Princess Charlene of Monaco rose, I did add Planet Earth Arborvitae. As I said in previous video, I'm trying to be more well-rounded and add in arborvitaes and and evergreens. So I don't really have much space to add them. I did just kind of plunk it here. So we'll see how I like this as the ginkgo is behind it. This is here that so you can see it on the side. So we'll see. It is kind of just a work in progress, I guess. Over here has been reworked as well. This just, as I said, I changed my mind a lot, so everything gets moved around like furniture. So I have moved this section as well. This was shade right here, so I had to move all the shade loving plants out and as they were getting burned. So I did add in over here another standing ovation serviceberry. So that will hopefully do well there. I might have to add another cage around it since it was pretty decimated by the rabbits. I hope it's still alive. We'll see in the spring. Right here, a new addition is September Charm Anemone. It was so pretty. This is the one that blooms pink. I know they get a little thuggish, I think, so we'll see. I don't really mind it over here. Um, so I don't have a ton of stuff in here. So we'll see. I'll have to keep an eye on it and report back. This year, I was really obsessed with fruit trees. So I have added a fun peach tree here. This is Bonanza Patio Peach. It grew so much this season. I did have it in a pot, but then I got worried about it um, not making it through our winter. So I did decide to put it into the ground. So I'm really excited to see how this does next year and excited to see if I get any peaches. So that is really my hope. The description did say that these peaches are good for eating, not just for cooking. The other patio peaches, only good for cooking peaches, I think. So I'm really excited about that. Up in front of the peach tree, I do have a swoop of Veronica. I did move this from the front yard. It is a white Veronica that I split up. So it is very hardy and it is doing really well. And even though we have had snow and freezes, it is still blooming, which is wild. So I don't know that variety any longer. It's lost to me. So I'm really excited to see that bloom in the spring and summer. I can't remember honestly when that blooms. In front of the Veronica, I have added these are new to me, but they are adorable. These are dwarf humolo. They are so cute with these itty bitty little leaves. So we'll see how that does. I might have to split those to make more because they're adorable. So we'll see. Around my dying birch tree here, I have inherited this really pretty lavender that does really well right here. And I think because it is a little elevated up and water does not sit there, it does very well for me here. So in after it blooms, I really love to cut those to bring them in the house. So love that little section. I really love this area of my backyard. It is probably my favorite. It feels really like a fairy garden. I have slowly gathered Irish moss to put in between my pavers that have it's really taken off. Some dies, some spreads, and I never really am without it, so that's okay with me if it does die off in little areas. It is so pretty in here, and I really love it. I do definitely keep it watered. It is water loving. The roots are not super, long, so it works really well in between these pavers. This little section of my garden is where my living room is, and up above is the bedroom. So I have this has been really a trial and error, this section. I've never been happy with this area until this year. I just switched it out last maybe fall, so I am much happier with it now. It has definitely been a trial. I have some really fun things in here that are new. I do a lot of annuals in this section. This is pretty much full shade. So I have very specific specific plants over here. I have Virginia. I think it's pipsqueak. So I have two here. I did have a third, but it died. Whew, it's cold. Cold today. I have a foam. This right here is a foam flower, and it has really taken off. I just added that in the spring. So I really like that, and I definitely would like to add another. Let me see which one this one is, if I can read it. It is pink skyrocket or something. So I'm making new tags over here. In these baskets, I have woodland phlox. It's the native phlox that always gets decimated by the rabbits. So I am determined to have spring color, and I am just protecting it. So I do have bugbane right here. I have two. It flowered for the first time for me this year. I'm very excited about it. It's such a pretty spiky white flower with dark leaves. So I'm really excited to see that grow bigger. I do have this really beautiful Brunner over here. I can't remember if it's Queen of Diamonds or what. It has the silver foliage, which is so beautiful. This summer it was kind of covered in ants. So that was an experience. But in here I have a lot of lilies. They do really well over here. So I really like having that height in here. These two hydrangeas are Bobos. They're doing really well this year now that they're getting a little bit more sun. I moved them. I did have three in here, but I moved these two over. They just weren't doing very well. I did add some new plants in here, Astrantia. So I have never grown that before. It was actually quite expensive. So I have two. I got one in the fall sale, but I did pay full price for another one. So I'm excited to see those. I think they bloom in spring. Um, Excited to see those really pretty flowers. I have a bunch of pink astilbes in here, typical astilbes, Geranium roseanne. I did add this new plant back here. This is Sweet Spire. I believe this is Little Henry. So it has really pretty fall color. I'm excited to see this also in spring. Again, new to me. So I have these dotted throughout the yard all throughout. These are a native shrub. So it should get about 3 feet tall, I believe. In front of that, I really have a nice swoop of plumbago. So I have this swoop over here, and I have a really cute swoop over here. Now, I did not think these came back for me this year. They did take a while to come out. So just remember that for plumbago. I think they take a bit like hibiscus. They take some time to start sprouting. I do have a ton of sweet woodruff in here. At first, I was like, do I need to get rid of this? I like it. It's actually really nice here. I have this concrete platform right here. I have a pot that I put a fountain in for the sound. I don't really get many birds going into the fountain, but I do like the sound. So I do like that sweet woodruff around it. And if it gets too crazy, you just dig it out. All it does is just spread that way. So it smells really good when it blooms. I do like that a lot. Another new flower for me is Liguilaria. This is Bottle Rocket, I believe it's called. So this has definitely been a trial. I had this up in the front. It requires a ton of water, tons of water. And again, I think I mentioned in my front garden, I do not bother with that really watering. I just can't be bothered. I water the stuff back here, but not in the front. So I did just move this here in the fall, so we'll see how this does next year, but it's very high maintenance plant. Just keep that in mind. But it blooms really pretty yellow stalks. So this section up here is where my sun section is. So I did add this really pretty rose. I added this bare root last spring. It has really exploded. This is Earth Angel Rose. It is such a beautiful rose, this delicate pink, cupped, and just, oh, I love it. It is very healthy. This plant is so healthy. I've not had any problems with it. So I am very pleased, and it does really well here. A garden friend, I have had this and did suggest maybe a partial sun area. So I think where it's at, it's very happy. I'm very pleased with that. I did have this hydrangea, my tree hydrangea in the ground, but I moved it into a pot when I moved things around in this one area in my garden. So I'll have to figure out where to put this next year. So right now it's just going to be living in the pot. Over here, I did add another smaller rose. This is from Heirloom Roses. I only added this in spring, and I only got a couple roses on it. It is called Veranda Cream. So, we'll see how it does next year. I might have to move it. I think it's like 2 to 3 feet tall and wide. So I figured it would look nice next to the other rose here. This is the main geranium that I'm pulling a lot of little things off of, again, that I cannot remember the name of. So Bianco or something. This is Sweet Alyssum I grew from seed, and I am telling you, it is hardcore. I have been growing this since spring. And again, we have had snow for days. We have had freezing for days. It's still blooming and still super happy. So that is definitely one I will be regrowing next year. This is just catmint. Cannot remember the kind. I think it's Walker's Low. It's doing very nice there. And over here is also another work in progress. Over here next to my Kusa, I believe it's a Kusa dogwood, from some of the research I've done. Love this tree. It's the one tree I do love in my yard, that was here from previous owners. So I do have a work in progress around this little tree. In spring, I added the butterscotch Amsonia. So it is a little rough right now. The rabbits did eat some of the stalks on it, which is so weird because they didn't eat any in the front. So, we'll see. I think I would like to add 2 more and have a swoop around here. So that feathery looking foliage in the fall, I think, is going to look so beautiful. So I really do think I'm going to add 3 more. This again was an area that was very wild that I wasn't super into. This year it had a lot of self-seeded black-eyed Susans. I had some crazy Nicotiana, and what was this? This was something else I can't remember the name of, that self-seeded over here that just kind of went wild as well. So I don't know. So I got to work on that in the spring. I'm excited. I think it will look really great. My patio has also been a DIY project for me since spring. I started it last fall, decided I hated the way it was, ripped it all up, and then changed my mind. It was like, I really hate this project. I don't know if other people get that way, but I definitely did. This was all rock, and you can see my dog here likes to play stick, and when she runs over here, runs in here, the rocks would fly everywhere, get into the garden. I really hated that. So I was like, oh, we're going to dig all that out, and we're going to put these pavers down, and that's the way it's going to be. I was like, I'll just get like 10 pavers and that'll be enough. Oh gosh, I don't know how to do math, it seems, because as you can see, this is a lot more than 10 pavers, and it did take quite a few to get the shape that I wanted. So we finally did get that. I did add this polymetric sand in between, but it's a special kind of sand that is permeable. It's pretty good, even though it's $100 a bag. So that was unfortunate. But I am very proud of the way it turned out, and I did get to enjoy this for the summer. I plan to add really pretty umbrella out here. I want to add a couple more large pots to here and maybe add some trees in the pots. So we'll see how it goes in the spring. I'm excited to get this going. Because of the change of everything, I did change this area up. So I am loving this section and I'm very excited to see how it grows in. It has done so well in the summer and the fall. So what I have in here, I just did a little fountain, but I think I'm going to dig a hole here and put that into the ground for next year and just have a little bit of a pond thing right here. The birds love this little thing here. So what I planted was 3 prairie drop seed. So that way they could soften the edge a little bit, and they grew these beautiful seed heads, if you can see that. Oh, they're very cool. So I love that. I did add a lot of natives in here. So the prairie dropseed is native. I added little blue stem as well. I added 3 of those. 1, 2, 3. They grew beautifully. So I'm very excited. I just wanted them to be a little bit taller to soften this area next to the patio and these edges. So excuse me, I think that will look wonderful. Then I added the Stashi's Humalo in here. I only have 2, but I think I'll add more. I also have the coneflower pallida, the native one. So that's, I have that all throughout the garden where it hangs down. I think that'll look really beautiful in the prairie drop seed and the floatiness of it, and it will be very tall. So I think that'll look amazing. So, and then some alliums are back here. This is another one of my favorite roses. This is Olivia Rose Austin. I do have a lot of David Austin roses in here. I just really like those. So this is such a beautiful pink and it is very prolific. Such a beautiful sight to see out my windows. This is the view that I do see out of my living room and my bedroom. This is the view I wanted to be most spectacular since I do look out those windows a lot. I look down, my bedroom is on the 2nd story, so I look down on this and I really see everything out here, and I wanted such a beautiful view, the first thing that I see when I wake up. So I really feel like this is getting there. Over here on this side is a crazy rose. This has gotten so wild. This is Lady of Shalott, which is such a beautiful orangey coral color, and it looks so pretty with the blue of my shed. This rose I highly suggest, but it is wild, and I really feel like, and I prune it hard. So this is probably the 3rd year. No, next year will be the 3rd year. So this has been, yeah, next year will be the 3rd year. So, and it has done so well so far. So I think I might next year get a trellis to put in there to kind of contain it just a little bit, because I have this path. I believe I am going to move this rose over just a little bit in the spring because I do get attacked when I'm walking down the path. So the Lady of Shalott she throws out all of these crazy arms. So I'm going to try with the trellis and see how that does against the fence there. Underneath, I do have a salvia. I have a peony. I don't know if the peony will make it. I have that over here. That was kind of a new addition, so we'll see. I have a bunch of self-seeded things over here that we'll see if they come back next year. This is a cute little blue-eyed grass. That is a native. So I did just add one right there. We'll see. I might add a couple more here. I'm not sure. I split some phlox that I have over there. So I'm really, really liking this section this year, even though it's still new. So still very excited about it. This area is also new. I am still working on how to do this little transition here. Not quite sure. I am going to add some more ground cover, I believe, in between these little pavers. Um, I do have, this is all new right here, this path. I constantly change this. I wasn't sure what I wanted, but I'm just adding it like over here. In where this is Irish moss, I am adding ajuga to this section. So this ajuga is the glow one. Oh, what is it? I forget the beginning. I think it's something glow. So it is pink. Oh my gosh, I love it. So this I think is going to be really wonderful in between the pavers because, you know, we walk, this is where the door is. So this is where we're going to be walking with the wheelbarrow. You know, everybody's going to be walking in and out of here. And so far, Ajuga seems to be very walkable. I've not had any issues with it. So, you know, we'll see how it does in the spring, and I'll be able to hopefully pick some more up and add it to some more other sections that I have here. But I'm really liking these pavers. They are very safe. They're even. And they're just, I think, looking really well, and they match the rest of what I have in the garden. Along the fence here is also, we'll see how it goes. This is a trial and error section. I've never been happy really with anything along this fence. So this year I did decide to make it a rose alley kind of. I added a whole bunch of new roses that I don't really want to walk through here. I think the dog is the only one who walks through here, so I don't really care if they get big. Um, so you know, we'll see how it goes. I'm excited for the spring to see if they do look good. If not, I will just have to take them out, move them, and add some other fun things. So this first rose is First Crush. I did not get a ton of blooms on these. Again, they were just added in the spring. So unfortunately, I have these really pretty buds that are not going to make it, but it's so far it's been a very healthy rose. This one again is from Heirloom Roses. So excited about that. These are some really fun apple trees that I have here. So I don't know, normal apple trees are very big and large. So again, I have mentioned many times, this is a very small garden, so I have to be very specific with what I plant in here. These are columnar apple trees. So they grow very, very tall, but very, very thin. So this one is Blushing Delight columnar apple tree. It gets probably 12 feet tall, but only 2 feet, 2 to 3 feet wide. I am very excited about this. I did add this in the spring. So it doesn't look like so much growth, but it's not dead. So that's what I'm happy about. um, this is another columnar apple tree that is from Fruit Snacks. This is Golden Treat Apple. So it says, I'm skinny and perfect for small spaces. I was going to have this in a pot, but again, I was worried about it not making it through the winter. So I just wanted these here. And I am trying to get a little bit of privacy from the neighbors, and we'll put that up here. This rose right here is Desdemona. It did not do wonderfully this year. This is a David Austin rose. I did add this. No, I did not add this bare root. I added this was already kind of grown when I added it. Um, Yeah, it did not do wonderfully this year, so we'll see how it does next year. Otherwise, it's a really beautiful, whitey, kind of light pink rose. Smells so good. Um, really love that. Over here is another David Austin rose. This is James Galway. This is a climber. This is one I planted bare root. This so this is the second year. So next year will be the third year. So it has taken its time to grow. It's really put on a lot of good growth this year. So next year I'll be tying it up. Um, I did get quite a few really pretty roses on it. It is very pretty pink. I do plan on adding an arch here, so I want to add that here. I also added a Kinsley Ghost honeysuckle that is native, so I wanted to add that on the arch as well. I just planted this in the fall, so I have no idea what it's going to look like. Um, that will be new to me, but again, this is from Proven Winners, Kinsley Ghost Honeysuckle Native, so I'm really excited. This is just the area into my native garden, so I like to have native things around this area. Well, that is it for the patio garden. I really appreciate everybody joining me for this little garden tour in the middle of November, and it's actually freezing today. But I kind of just wanted to show, again, the transition of what everything is going to look like. And it's still really pretty back here, and it's still my favorite part of the garden. So I really love, there's my dog, I really love this area. So, thank you so much, and we'll see you in the next video.